Okay, hi everyone. So, welcome again in the next part of this project we're working on, whereby now we're going to try to tackle on the server side because that's where we need to save data. But that means we need a client to be certain elsewhere, but if we need to persist or to register data to the database, that means those data should be saved or sent to the server, and the server use its own different technology that is implemented on the server, and those information be saved to the database. Okay, that means in the next part, whereby we're going to just to make sure the user should be able to concurrently register vaccinations. That means we're going to first to do the behind the scene, how the things should be able to be saved in database. That means the thing we're going to implement, I'm going to just because we are going to use, I'm going to configure actually on the database level. After having database level, we move again up and up on different levels. This is the way you can able to manage your things so that you know exactly what you're doing, what you're having actually. Okay, so now the first thing we do know, because now from the thing we're going to do, how can we use the Hibernate so that we can able to register the vaccinations into the database. So that's the thing we're going to start as quick as we can. That means if we go to the project, that means we're going just to go to quit for the client side right now. We're going to deal much on things it's going to be true about on server side. So that means if we need to register as a citizen, what do we need? We need citizen ID, full name, and phone number. Three of them. Not only that, if we're going to register a vaccination, we need three things. We need a brand, not only the brand, also we need a citizen ID comes from database. Also we need the vaccination date so that those data can be saved to the database. Nothing else. But before you know what, we need a model to control each and everything. The model is responsible to grab the data, and the DAO is responsible to take those data comes from the model and persist them to database or retrieve them from database. Nothing else. Okay, so that means we're going to start for the server side. We're going to go to the model. How many class do we have? We need the class of the citizen. They're going to have the citizen information. Also, we need the class for the vaccination one. They're going to grab the information come from the citizen and other things come from the graphical user interface. That means we're going to go to the model. It has got the model. We're going to create what you call the project class. Let us have a Java class, and the model we're going to call it citizen, and I click finish. That's the class. Always the class starts with capital letter. So not only this class only we do have from here, also we have another class for what you call vaccination. Let us call it vaccination. Now what is for this one? It has clicked finish. That means in the database, we're going to have two tables, vaccination and citizen right now. That's what we have from here. So what the data do we have for the citizen? For the citizen, if we go to the graphical user interface, from the class we do have from here, on the citizen we need citizen ID, phone name, and phone number, nothing else. So that means we're going to come here, we say we want to have private string citizen ID. Okay, let us use underscore this one so that we omit a way to configure too much of things by putting table at table name. You specify because we're going to use the annotation and so on. Can you go ahead and use this one, but it's fine. Okay, so let us have string for names. Okay, let us have private string phone number, because you can have plus and so on. Phone number. Okay, so and then you can go ahead use camel case. If you specify at camel case, they're going to something you need to do. So let us have this kind of the project class. The project class should have what called constructor with no argument. It's actually called no argument constructor. So let us insert it actually. constructor. Let us go to the insert code. We just try to insert the constructor with no argument. The first one we generate, the first one without no argument, constructor. Okay, so this is the first constructor. Also the constructor with argument, you just right click, we go to the insert code, the constructor. I'm going to select this one, first one with the ID, because there are times where you can search by ID. Okay, also we're going to generate insert code with constructor with everything. Okay, we select all and then we generate. So after having this one, you're going to have a project class. Let's go ahead and insert code for the getter and the setters. We select all because we need to generate all the information comes from the project class. That's all from here. Okay, you can see we have these are for project class, nothing else from here. So let us go to the vaccination also. And the vaccination, what do you have from here? For the vaccination, you need private string. We need the vaccination bland, vaccination underscore bland. That means we're going to have vaccination bland. Also, we're going to have private date, vaccination date. Okay, we're going to have vaccination date. So let us try to import this guy from use Java utility, this one. Okay, not only that, we need a private, because remember on the photo we do have from here, we need the vaccination and citizen. One citizen should have one vaccination. Okay, like now what we have from here, because we need to track who is vaccinated or is not. That means if a citizen is vaccinated, we just put a flag. Okay, I'm going to apply some what we call technical mode on so that only. That means we can try to do something that are going to be on that happen on the. We have what we call design on a conceptual model, this level. Also, we have a design on technical model. Okay, you can see if we need to know exactly the citizen who is not vaccinated, we can track the whole citizen who are not responsible or doesn't have any kind of the vaccination brand, or we can have a flag also on citizen, say is he or she vaccinated. That means if he or she took a vaccinated, we go ahead, even we update the table of citizen, we say, oh, you know what, citizen, you are vaccinated, nothing else. That means we are going to make sure one to one. I mean, let us try to implement that kind of the relation. I mean, there's something we just apply that can help us to see the relationship between the things. Okay, so that means I'm going to have a private citizen. Let us say citizen. This one is going to be a citizen. This one is going to hold all the information from this. That means what do we need from here? We need only table comes from the citizen for only one thing. That means citizen ID. That's the only thing we need. Okay, so I'll just elaborate this one later. So we have public vaccination. Okay, but this one, let us try to implement this one so that you can generate the constructor. Generate the constructor without anything. Just have insert code. Let us have a constructor. We've select all. Let us have this one. Also, let us have the last one with the getter and setter. We generate them. We then from here. So other thing we're going to apply right now here, we say one-to-one, one-to-many relationship. That's the thing we're going to apply later. But I want to show something. After having this model, you can see this model should be the same thing under the client side for the model actually. Though nothing else. Okay, should be the same. Should be there too. Nothing else. Okay. That means allow me just to copy this one. I'm going to copy this class and then be added as paste on the model. Okay, refactor copy, that's the best one. And then you say refactor. We're just copying all the things we have in the model because we should be on the server, on the client side too. So nothing else. But the difference, you know what? On the different side, on the server side, we're going to have something because these things must be tend to be native to the database. Okay, so we come up with the Hibernate now. We're going to go to the Hibernate. I'm going just to repeat something a little bit. There are steps to follow by configuring the Hibernate. The first one, you need to import the required library from this one. What do you mean required library? We need Hibernate GPA 4.3 if I do remember well. Also we need database driver. I'm going to use those are the things we need to make sure we have the things. So also after importing this one, now we need to create a project class. We already create a project class. That's the one for the model. So and then must be turned into entity by using mapping into entity relation by mapping by using some annotation. It has used some annotation from here, and then you do mapping later on. So after having this one, after creating this class, so we just have this one. After having the project class, now we need to create what you call, you have to create Hibernate configuration wizard. Okay, is configuration wizard. After having this kind of the configuration wizard, there's something you need to go from here. Under the configuration wizard, we need to have something inside it. You need to go have what you call GDBC properties. Actually, it is database properties. Nothing else. What do you mean? It is database URL, the driver you're going to use, the username, and password. That's the thing you need to add from here. Also, after having, you need to do what you call mapping. Also, you need to do configuration of under the I think it's miscellaneous. Miscellaneous. I'll just try to figure out if it's like this way. I don't remember how it's being executed. Or you're going to just try to see how it's being written. For the English things not part of here. Okay. So we have miscellaneous. We need to configure something under the miscellaneous. I'm going to try to see how it's being typed from here. Okay, here we go. So now we just have some configuration. I will just show you how to do the things. So now we just have, after this one, now you just to import what you call Hibernate utility. If you follow this instruction, you're good to go. Okay, so now let us go ahead. Let us first import library. You need to import library on the server side, please. Okay, let us minimize for the client. Let us work on the server side. Let's click on this one. You add the library. The first library, you can see we do have Hibernate this one. I need the Hibernate this one. Also, I need also another library. For me, I'm going to use Postgres. I need to have Postgres GDB driver. Okay, I'm done with the importing. After having this one, the next step, you have to create project class. This done. We just need to turn out this and to be in by using some annotation by mapping. That means we're going to come here. We say we can see we have citizen. We're going to say come here. We say at entity. This annotation comes from javax.persistence entity. And then you can come here. We click on this one. Let us try to see why is it not. Oh, I think I'm in the wrong pass. So that let us first close each and everything have from here, close other, so that we don't lose track. Discard. Okay, now let us have this citizen for the server. I think I was on the client side. Okay, now you can have at entity. Okay, you can see now because we have the libraries. You can see we do have this one. Can be imported. Let us import each and everything we need. Okay. And then let us have this one should have what you call the primary key by using at this one is going to be turned as a primary key in database. Nothing else. You can go ahead and try to change some names from here. You can say at column, I say at column, specify name. I say name I wish to be, for example, 4 names. That means in database, this one is going to be instead to have 4 names like this, is going to be in small letter with like this way with underscore inside. That's all from here. So also we need to go to the vaccination one. We need to have at entity. Okay, we can go ahead and import it. It does import each and everything we don't need. So this one, what's going to be the ID? You can see there's something what you call technical things. You can see on the vaccination, we don't have something that can make us a primary key from this one, because the vaccination brand is going to be duplicate, vaccination date is going to be duplicate, but of course citizen ID, because we can have only one citizen that can be vaccinated, okay, it can act as a primary key, but this one is going to be a foreigner key. So that means it is the better. We can even make sure we have a combination of the citizen ID plus brand name, or date and citizen ID. Those are the things we can have as in common. But for us, let us implement something that is going to be let us have integer. This means we're going to make sure this is what you call on technical part, where we can implement something that can make things easier, so that we can be able to implement each what do we need actually. That means for this one, ID is going to be generated automatically from database. It's going to be generated. Okay, we can I'm going to show you how can you do it. That means can you see I'm adding ID so that it can help this class to have a meaningful things. Okay, I'm playing things on technical part actually. Okay, so you can go ahead, please do that, and then you can say at ID. That means it is ID, but we're going to make this one to be generated. For us, we don't need to generate anything for this ID. We just need to make sure they are going to be generated automatically. So we can have what you call generated type to be identity. This can reuse this one so that it can know exactly what to generate. This one is going to generate numbers only automatically. For you are not going to do anything else. This one is going to generate the value for ourselves, okay? Compared to the database, nothing else. Just after that, leave it, okay? That means for us, what we're dealing with, we're just dealing with this one, private string, and so on. So you can see we're just missing something, because on our constructor, like on this kind of the constructor, I'm going to just delete this one because I'm missing the ID. Let us just first generate the constructor with the ID. Select all the constructor with each and everything. Also, we need the getter and setter for the ID we just added. You can see it is the only one there, right? And then you can see this is being applied on technical part because ID wasn't there, but we just really need it. Okay. So now we do have vaccination date, we have ID, we have each and everything. I mean, in the table we're going to have ID, vaccination brand, date, and citizen. What is going to be here? But before I continue, because we need to make sure one citizen can have one vaccine, that means should be vaccinated. That means you can have what you call one-to-one relationship. That means when you say one-to-one relationship, that means one citizen should be vaccinated one by one. Cannot take multiple of vaccine at the same time. That's not allowed actually. So that's the thing we need to implement. After having one-to-one, we need to make sure we identify where this item is going to make sure that the place exactly we're going to communicate. That means we say at join column. We need to join the column, specify the name for it, and then you say this one is going to be comes from the citizen, and this one is going to be citizen ID. This one is going to be the citizen ID, like this way. But I like the way we can make sure these things can be easier things without applying some relationship. From this one, I'm going to make easiest one. I don't want to complicate things, so that because you are just somehow beginner, but because you can go ahead and do the things by specify join column. Is I'm trying to join table of vaccination and citizen by using the column citizen ID comes from the citizen. Those are the things I'm just trying to implement, but I'm going to show you the other one where you can use it so that we don't mess up. Okay, I will just add a bonus from here where you can implement this one, right? So I'm going to just comment this one. Let us have private. I'm just do this because I'm trying to make sure things is okay. Okay, it does have thing we say citizen. If you fail to do this one, you can say citizen foreign academies. Wherever we retrieve data from the database, when we send the data, we can assign the ID automatically in this column. But this one, there's no exact the relationship between them. Though we have the citizen ID, we can call that ID as a foreign key and can be used automatically, of course. But that's what you call technical things, okay? But I wish you in the at the end I will just implement this one so that we know exactly what we can do by using this kind of relationship. It will be the bonus added later on. Okay, I'm trying to make sure everyone can understand this one. Okay, by implementing a simplest one. That means I'm sorry, we're going to go ahead with it again this one because I don't want to the type of them. I mean I don't want to retype them manually. Let us generate this one because we just removed this one, but it's fine. Also it the getter and setters, we can remove them so that you can generate the other one. Okay, it was having some error. Let us generate the getter and setters for it for this string. Kindly make sure they have the same data type. If on the citizen we have string, make sure also on this one you're trying to make sure it's going to be different, okay, to be a string too. So I'm trying to make sure it is the simplest one in a simplest context. For the other relationship, because in the previous video I didn't talk about it, I will just talk about it in this one at the end. Okay, so allow me to do this one in the simplest way. So we're done with the creating POJO and entity mapping relation. That means the next one is going to create Hibernate configuration wizard. We want to create Hibernate configuration wizard for this one. Okay, let us minimize this one. That means this Hibernate configuration wizard, please make sure they are under what you call the default package, because it can be used with many packages. That means come here, like kindly click on the source package and then you go new, you go to the other if you're not able to see this kind of the Hibernate configuration wizard, and then you click other, and then you come here, you say Hibernate. You see I have this Hibernate, and then you come choose this Hibernate configuration wizard, and then you click next. Next please. They're going to request you a database to use. Okay, I'm wishing to create a new database so that we can have a fresh database for this one. Okay, I'm going to create a new database from here. For me, allow me, because I'm not going to use the Postgres. You can, I mean, I'm going to use the Postgres, but I'm using the command line so that I can go ahead and create a new database from here. So allow me to use this one. So I'm just using switch user to the Postgres, and then you say PCHL, and then let us create a database, and we call it Vaccination. Okay, now because I have some users, let me grant this one this database to this guy. Okay, so this user, and you see it is granted. That means I have this vaccination. I'm granting the user Jeremy to use this one. Okay, so let me just alter. Let's have this guy so that you know exactly the password for him. It has used the password called Java. It has used Java from this guy. Okay, I'm just trying to alter the user. This one we're going to use so that you can use the Java as this one. So that means you're going to create, come here, you create a new database connection, and then it shows the database you're going to use. I'm using to Postgres, and then you click next, and then it choose the database called the Vaccination as we create together, and then the username, it is this guy, also the password Java. Okay, and then after click finish. Okay. Just trying to see if they're able to communicate. You can see after this one you can type the master password if it's just there, and then after that click finish. It's going to be created automatically right here. You can see we have GDBC property, as I said. We have the driver I'm going to use. It has URL, it has the username and password. If you mess up, you don't find any, like for example, if I don't have password from here, you can go ahead add it manually. You can see you can choose the one you have password. You say password is this one, okay, and then you say click OK. You're done. Nothing else. After do the things, the next step I told you have to do what's called the mapping. Okay, can go to the mapping, and then you need to add. We're going to add the class. Okay, click browser. Browse the class is found on the source package. Under the model, we have two of them. Okay, we have two of them, but you're allowed to select only one. Okay, and then select citizen, and then you click OK. We also need the vaccination one, another one browser, and then you expand this one. You expand, you go to the model, and then choose the vaccination class. Okay, you're done by mapping. Okay, after mapping, you need to go to the configuration wizard. You can see under the configuration wizard we have this one. If you're not having this one, please add it some. Okay, and then you can go ahead, you say I need to show this here. That means I need to see the behind the scene, what's happening actually. Okay, then hit OK. So after, that means this one was the next one. Then Hibernate configuration wizard, the configuration property. Let me just type it. After mapping, let us go to the configuration properties. So after having configuration properties, now you go to the what you call miscellaneous. That's how it's being written. Okay, and the miscellaneous, you need just to come here, just choose Hibernate to there. That means this one you're going to just put a update. So you know on DDR, that means what's called data definition language. Those are the language that being used on database level by creating database, also by creating, updating, or deleting tables in database. We use DML, data manipulation language, when we need to insert, delete, and do whatever. But when we're doing tables, I mean columns, data in the columns. But if you need to change table structure, database one, we use what's called DDL. That means we are going to make sure if table is in there, it will be created automatically by itself, automatically. That is if you use update. That's the good thing. Okay, then after this one, click save. Okay, if you done save, the next step is just to import the Hibernate utility. The Hibernate utility should be under the DAO package. Okay, because the DAO, that's the one you're going to use it. Then you click other, you go to the Hibernate, and then you choose Hibernate utility. Click next, and then let us remove new so that you can have Hibernate utility. Then you click finish. Okay, we save. Before we end this part from here, I'm going to make sure under the DAO, we're going to have how many DAO do we need for this one? We need two class. We need citizen and vaccination. That means we need the two DAO. And DAO is responsible to do what? Actually, for the DAO, now we go to the DAO part. The DAO is responsible for what you call CRUD operation. Okay, that means create, lead, update, and read. Nothing else. Okay, those are the only thing I'm going to implement. I'm going to make sure I have 4 methods in each CRUD. Also, I'm going to have also to search by ID and so on. Nothing else. But I'm going to show you the tricky things. Okay, under the DAO, I'm going to have a new Java class, create a Java class, call it Citizen DAO. That's called Citizen DAO. Also, it does have another class automatically. From here under the DAO, it does have a Java class called Vaccination. Always a class must start with capital letter, Vaccination DAO. Okay, let us start from the Citizen DAO. Okay, the first one you need to have create operation. Okay, we're going to have create operation. That means should return. We can return a string. That means we just make sure it said data save successful, or you can return nothing, or you can return what we call the citizen who's been registered in the database. When you're being advanced in the swing and so on, they're going to return by start using what GPA reports and so on. They're going to return exactly the class you're serving, okay? But let us say data save successful, nothing else, okay? But even you can return nothing, okay? Let us say public string save or register. Let us call register citizen. I'm going to show something. I should return something. Let us do like this way. Data saved successful. Let us have this one. So we have public string register citizen. So where the data is going to come from? The data is going to come from the graphical user interface from client side, but should pass through the model. The model would grab the data, and the data should come to the DAO by through the model. How can I grab the data comes from the model? That means I need to create a parameter that hold the information so that I can use them to save them to the database. Okay, that means I'm going to have this is going to be if I'm going to register citizen for the project class or the model class called citizen class. Okay, and then I can say citizen like this way, but I need to import it. Just import model citizen. You can see I'm able to have the citizen with an object name citizen. It means citizen it hold, we can get anything comes from the citizen model. Okay, now the first step from here, now we're dealing with the DAO. Okay, the Hibernate, that I like this one. The first step when you're using what you call Hibernate, using Hibernate, there are some steps to follow too. Okay, the first one you need to create a session. After having created a session, you need to create a transaction. If you are a transaction, actually when we need the transaction, in the transaction we want to create, update, and read only. I will just explain why. Also, we need to cross connection, but is better connection is better first to commit. You need to run the commits one to save. That means the first one, you create session factual. After having create session, you need to save. Now you need to save, perform what you call CRUD operation. Now here, after performing CRUD operation by help of session, you're good to go. So now let us go ahead, you create a session, you use session. Of course, you have to import the library for the Hibernate, nothing else. If it's not there, you're done. Okay, session, let us say session is going to use, we use what called the Hibernate tree, the one we imported, dot get session factory dot. Now we open session, but this one we're going to say we need to import it comes from org.hibernate. Can you go ahead and import each and everything I'm going to use from here? So after this one, after creating session, you just need to create transaction. So we just use transaction class, capital S transaction, and then say transaction is going to use session.begin transaction. Okay, now we're going to save or perform save citizen. Now just use save citizen is going to be session.save. Okay, which we're going to save exactly this guy comes from here, citizen, from here, then you put semicolon, and then you say transaction.commit, we commit, after session.close, you done. That's how we can save or register, nothing else. That's the create operation. Let us have update operation also. It does have update operation. I'm going to just copy this one. I'm going to show you the good thing of this guy. I just paste this one. I'm going to say update citizen. I just need this information. Just instead it uses save, use update. You done. It's somehow easy. Okay, for delete, now let us go to delete. For delete, we don't need to return anything. Okay, guys, we don't need to return anything. Of course, you can go ahead and leave it. Let me just return data deleted successful. This one it is data updated successful. Now let me paste here. Now this one is going to be delete citizen. Okay, we did citizen and now we use delete. We just use delete. We done said that citizen deleted successful. Okay, now those are the delete operation. Then now the another one, just to retrieve or to select or to read data from database, from DB. That means from this one we need to have a list of the data comes from database. Okay, I want to use list, but we need to say this one is going to be the list with data type. That means we need to specify exactly the one is going to grab. It's going to grab information come from the citizen. Okay, we'll say all citizen. We need to return all citizen. But by retrieving data, we don't need to specify anything. Now we need to import the list, and then we can retrieve those kind of the information. Of course, I'm going to create a new list. Of course, let us for the steps, we need to create session factory first. I'm going to just copy. For selecting, I told you we don't need transaction. Okay, we don't need transaction. So let us have now a list of the citizen. That's called citizen list. And then we say we're going to use session. We're going to create what we call query. Okay, we're going to say create query, and then we're going to select. We're going to use what we call Hibernate query. We need to select citizen. Let us say citizen from class citizen, and then it says citizen. Okay, I'm going just to explain. Now we convert to list, so that we're going to accept it. So I'm selecting all citizen returned by this kind of the guy citizen. That means actually I'm creating an object inside of the query language. This, I'm having a class called citizen. I create, let us say we're creating an object called citizen. That means it's going to come with some information. Now I'm going to select that kind of the citizen we are returning, and then to be as a list, to be added this kind of the list. Nothing else. You're done. So now we say session.close. You close. You can of course clear, and then after you return citizen list. That's all. Just return the citizen list. What if now we need to search citizen by ID? How can you do that? Lead search citizen by ID. Now we can have public. That means we need to return the citizen, the class called citizen, because we are just trying to search the citizen. So we say get citizen by ID. That means we need to have an ID. Okay, we need ID comes from this one, because sometimes we don't know exact the data type of the ID. So, and then we need this kind of the session. I'm just copy. I paste down here, and then I'm going to create citizen. It does have citizen like this way, and then we're going to say session dot get. We're going to get and then specify exactly the class called the citizen as the product class dot class. We say it's a class, and then we specify the primary key you're going to use comes from the citizen, the one the user specified, and then you say dot get citizen ID, and then put semicolon. But of course, this one I'm going to say that incompatible type object are not to be converted to the citizen. That means we need to come here with type cast. We say citizen. You're done from here, and then you can say session.close, and then you can come here, you return citizen. You're done. That's all from here. Those are, you can see it's just the same steps from here. Okay, so you can go ahead, you go to the vaccination, the same process. Can you go ahead, have vaccination from this one? Actually, allow me guys, where you can just try to implement this one. Let me give you a task, this one, and then the next part I will just come complete this one. You're going to go ahead, as you create citizen DAO, kindly go ahead and implement citizen DAO too, and I mean the vaccination DAO, and then in the next part I will just show you how you can handle this one. So I think that's all for this video. We just learned too much of things, too much technology. This is going to be the part number 1 in the problem solving by registering the user, nothing else. So I would just like to see you in the next part. Thank you all.